Meeting to order. If we could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Patricia, can we please have a roll call?
Yes, Rebecca Bear,
I am present.
George Andrews,
Present.
Wayne Broner, absent, Rich Lamus,
Present.
3 present.
Thank you, Patricia. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for today, December 10th, 2024's meeting as presented?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. A motion to approve the minutes from last month's board meeting as presented?
So moved. Second.
Perfect.
Aye.
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 All right. The first item on our agenda is the recommendation of the board to approve the Burke 2025 Act 80 proposal. We're choosing bundle B for $775 for this run, and this is a renewal, something we do every year. Anything else we needed to know about that, Pete?
No, that's it. And we're taking the cheaper of the two bundles.
So
So, yeah, just a basic one for bundle B.
that was what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, it's just the basic of the two bundles and it's for the business office and it's just what we always do for every year. So
The next item on the agenda is the DESCON quotes for area enhancements for all district schools for the total of $179,319. And it's pending Commonwealth approval and it's paid out of food services. What are we waiting for on Commonwealth?
anytime that we have to buy anything out of food services, the state of Pennsylvania, anything above 20,000 or actually 5,000, excuse me, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania has to approve the purchase. So we're waiting for them to approve the purchase. And so that's what we're waiting for. They haven't granted their approval. I think it should be any day now. These different I attached all 10 schools and their enhancements and what they'll look like redoing this. This has been a project that Melissa has worked on for really the last 4 years. It's something that she's been wanting to do. And so this is something that will enhance our food participation, I believe, and she believes. And so this is something that'll be great for our kids and for our schools.
It looks like it's all advertising.
It freshens up. Yeah, it's the graphics and everything that goes around the area for the food services.
So do we really need it?
It does. So it's one of those things where it enhances the area of the food services. So when you look at when you look at the area of the food services, the areas are gray and granular and things of that nature. But when you freshen it up, it enhances what the kids eat. So it's more of like a mental freshen.
Right now, it looks like a cafeteria. When you put this on, it looks more like a restaurant.
And that will enhance our participation and kind of in a mental state, make the food taste better. And even though it's the same food that you're
But
getting.
the state will allow us,
Yes.
the money to do this.
Yes.
Well, this is also because there was an audit finding that the cafeteria fund was too robust.
Mhm.
Oh, really?
And this is
Okay.
part of the plan of
Okay.
spending down that money.
Well, I'm glad we're doing
Yeah,
that.
so this is part of her action plan of how she was going to spend some of those
I
funds.
looked at all the presentations and all they really look nice and all.
Yeah.
I just said, and the state says, okay, that's fine, that we have the money. I'm just, it's amazing, that
So
we're doing it.
play the devil's advocate here. We've been hearing complaints about the food not tasting well, old milk,
Mhm.
things like that. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I'm just saying that those are the things that we've seen online. Does spending this money this way rather than maybe improving the quality of our
Presentation.
materials that are put into it, would that help us out instead? Now, I can't verify that. I mean, my boys don't tell me about the food. They just say they don't eat it very often.
Mhm.
That's all I know. And
So
that-
I don't know if it's even that. I think sometimes what happens is just me here. Like if a new shipment of milk comes in, instead of putting the new shipment of milk behind the older milk, the new shipment is going in front of the older milk, and then the older milk is coming later on, and they're missing expiration dates or chips or something like that. They get an order of chips. The new chips are going in front of the older chips, and we're not pulling the older chips and serving those first. And then by the time it gets to the older chips, it's expired.
Well, that's more process of.
That's what I'm saying, if we need to invest in the process
but
versus
some-
that.
But we
I
also
can't
give for breakfasts, don't we give, neutral bars and things like that?
Yeah.
And they're really not good, but that's part of what the government says we should be using.
Right, I mean, we also have to meet the guidelines of
Mhm.
nutritional
And
meals.
that,
Mhm.
sometimes what they say are nutritional meals, Susie says they're not nutritional.
Blame
meals.
Susie, it's all Susie's fault.
So this is the first I'm hearing that there's been expired milk served to students.
Okay, and
Um,
that,
We're just reading off of,
we're just going off of what we see on Facebook, so it's
And if
not
it's
like,
on Facebook.
right, it has to be true.
right, but we're just saying, we're hearing, you, that's what
Yeah.
we're saying, people.
So I sent out a survey to all of our kind of stakeholders.
Yes,
And the number one thing thus far that students are reporting is food service.
Mhm.
So it's something we can investigate, but my understanding is that there's still an incredibly healthy fund left in the cafeteria even after this spend.
Right,
Okay.
and so
Um,
I'm just wondering if we maybe move some, like, higher quality produce or things like that, that might, you know. Some kids are very picky eaters,
Yeah,
right? And-
Is our fund though going up because the kids aren't eating what the school?
No,
provided? They're buying à la carte? So the. à la
No,
carte-
our meal participation is up about, I think we were up 100,000 meals already from last year to this
Really?
year. So, yeah, our meals are way up.
And what causes that? That's.
Kids eating,
Kids
is it
eating, right?
because we offer free,
Yes,
yes. So, but the kids wouldn't eat if the meals were bad.
but they would still go through, right?
No, the kids would come up, if the meals were bad, the kids wouldn't eat it, free or not.
But they would still take it. My point is, if it's free, their parents aren't gonna pack them a lunch, they're gonna go and take a tray. Regardless of what it is, bring it and sit down and be like, oh, now,
Trash.
I don't know if the measurements,
like, we don't know.
the
what
kids
it's-
taking it or what's
Being
happening in
consumed.
waste, you know, like on the waste side of it. I'm not, look,
I don't know.
I'm not here to discuss that, I
Yeah,
understand.
so I mean, if
But-
there are quality complaints, they could always send them to Melissa Colavecchio, the food service director, and it would be handled appropriately. Posting on Facebook isn't handling it appropriately. So,
They
that's-
post everything on
I know.
Facebook.
So let us look into it and have some
Yeah.
conversations. And then honestly, I need to have some conversations with students of what they mean that the food is a concern.
And maybe.
And spend some time in some
Lunchtime.
cafeterias.
Yeah, maybe if you
Right.
visit the lunch,
Absolutely.
yeah.
could be fun.
It always is fun.
It's a little loud, but fun.
No, it's a good time.
We should do a quick investigation.
I've been in the cafeteria during lunchtime once and oh my God, it's so loud. I'm like, no, I can't. I don't know how teachers did it.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you.
And my husband's in Lehman every day as well, since in the cafeteria, so
Yeah.
always ask him.
I like the design, everything looks
I
really.
like
It does look
pretty.
pretty.
It gives a great presentation. You know, those are all positive things, will it allow kids to feel more comfortable eating the food?
Possibly.
I
Possibly,
was curious how we got the
Right.
fund so high.
Or even it might make kids more comfortable to actually eat lunch
Right.
rather than choose not to eat at all.
For sure.
Because there's athletes that I see all the time that are fainting because I didn't eat today. Why didn't you eat today? Lunch is free.
Every district I've ever worked in has had a very high cafeteria fund. This is not atypical of school
Okay.
districts. Yeah, because there's pretty tight restrictions on what you're able to spend it on.
Mhm.
So it's not as easy to spend as you would think.
Okay.
And there'll be other things that we'll be bringing up and equipment upgrades and things of that nature. So there are things that we're going to be able to do and enhance our even our food offerings. So as Dr. Vitale gets more information, there'll be opportunities to increase our offerings.
The tables that we just purchased. Or was it JML?
Yes,
Did they come out of cafeteria fund?
yes, they did.
Because that would be that type of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
or
those type of
food
things.
warmers and.
The food warmers.
heaters and-
Yeah, the food warmers that we just purchased as well. Or we actually, we didn't, wasn't a board, it was an emergency purchase, but there were $40,000 to replace the rest of the food warmers. They came out of the food service fund as well, so they ended the general fund. So,
Are these normal things that other districts are
Yes.
purchasing as
Oh,
well?
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
stuff breaks down. Gets old.
Any other questions in regards to that?
No, I think we beat that to death.
And this will be done over the Christmas break, so it'll be ready for when they come back from break.
The what?
This will all be done over the Christmas break, so it'll be done ready for when they come back from
Oh,
break.
good.
Our next item on the agenda is our finance committee meeting dates. And I know in the past we have discussed if we want all of them here or if we feel it necessary to bring some up to the North Campus. That's something we've discussed in the past, but have never done it. So I don't know how you guys feel about that or how you feel about that, Dr. Vitale.
It's really your choice as a board.
Okay, the reason we haven't we did once or twice in the past and we have not in the past is we were told that they can't live stream it like they are back there when we're at North. I don't know if that's the case, if there's a way that they can do it from up there.
We all have these, we can all log in and just do it right
No,
there.
the issue is the public here.
As a public,
Yes, they can all do this,
and they can see us if as long as we're on our computers.
right?
Right. Let me investigate that. So approve the committee meetings as you want, and then we'll investigate it.
Okay.
And talk to technology, and then if we want to reassign some to North, absolutely.
And the same maybe for, general board meetings as well. If we choose to do that later on, we'll
Okay.
address that.
We used to do it,
Yeah, we used to
we
do
used
it.
to do 2 a year.
We used to do 2 a year,
Okay.
and then they stopped it, so post-COVID.
Okay, yeah, we can absolutely look into that.
Cause otherwise, well, we don't have many people come to the meetings and whether most of them are live streaming it or.
Mhm. And I don't know if other members up north will be more likely to show up for a finance committee or other
Or
committee
any-
meeting, or any meeting for that matter.
The
If it's
people
up
here
there.
in South, they
What?
come out
Yeah,
big time, so.
just so any concerns or questions on these dates?
What the dates were changed, right? Or
13th is still on the Mondays. It's still Mondays. It was just today's was switched because of MCTI, I believe, was yesterday.
Yeah,
with
that
the
was
meeting.
yesterday.
Yeah.
And we also, there was another one was gonna change, changed, right?
September.
Because
September
of the
9th.
holiday.
Because of Labor Day.
Yep.
September 9th,
That was pushed out because of Labor Day.
yep, the day after Labor Day, yeah,
But any other questions in regards to those?
so.
I wish I had my travel schedule, but I can always join virtually. So we'll do that. Those are good. Then we have those to move forward to the board. And then we have our budget status discussion.
So I just wanted to give you guys a status as to where we are with the just a brief discussion of where we are so far with the budget. We passed a budget deficit with the $17.4 million deficit back in June. Right now, we're trending for a deficit around $9.7 million. So that's where we're trending. It's not a trend in the direction of less expenses, it's more of a direction of more revenue coming in. So we're at a direction of about $9.7 million. So some of the favorables are basically we're coming because the revenue we tracked in because of the extra recovering some of the transportation money and the money that we booked in due to the recovery from the plant climb money and the increases stuff and that discussion. So we have to talk about what we're going to do in the December, and we'll have some numbers for that in December, but or January, because of the Act 1 index is coming up and the deadline January 30th for Act 1.
What about that money that we got last year that we couldn't spend until this year?
That's coming. We have to talk about that and make a decision in January on that as well.
Are we gonna have a work session? Outside of the meeting to do the budget, so that we all have a feel for what the overall is for each school.
Do we typically do that?
We haven't, well, we had that when I first came on board, but the past regime didn't do it. We were running in the blind as
We never do anything.
Pete knows that he was giving us a overall budget, but we never really got to sit down until just recently to see actually what the budget is. So we didn't have any idea what the schools were doing, what the athletic department was. We really weren't doing our job right, to be honest.
Isn't that the purpose of the finance
But
committee?
we weren't allowed to see it.
So when you say work session, to me, that's the process of budgeting goes through this committee.
Right, but we didn't see it.
Right, no, but he's asking if we're going to have a work session.
That's
Well, I
that's
don't
like
know
a
if you-
separate session.
I don't know if you want to do it by the finance
Thank you, sir.
committee, or if you want to do it with the whole board, the budget.
And I think we can have that discussion of whether you want to leave it with finance or whether you want the whole board to do it.
But I think we
And
need.
if you want it in a board meeting, or if you want it in a separate work session. But there should be at least 3 budget presentations every year, so
We
the
do-
There
AFR,
are,
we do
and there
get that.
are, that's
Huh.
perfect. Yeah.
okay,
Those are good. I think George is looking to get a little more granular in the line items, really like kind of dig into what's in the budget, what's proposed in the budget.
okay.
Like major equipment replacement, or is there other items,
Subscriptions.
subscriptions and other capital, not
Subscriptions
so
for,
much, I don't call them capital, but well, all of our programs.
okay, so
you know,
like
like-
Scholastic News.
Correct.
Exactly.
Oh, so like we want line item. every-
Overview.
Well,
Overview
if you-
and also understanding that, let's say, because we pay for all of these classroom resources. Not only this, Scholastic, but then, Upland, Mifflin and all the other
Correct.
programs, and like which ones are coming up to do, or which ones require annual subscription. And maybe not so much that we need to know the detail, but that you guys are aware of the liabilities created by them for those annual subscriptions. Especially, like English and math and all the other, by program. I don't know if we're really expressing it. Am I expressing that right, George?
I think you are, but I think what,
We're also talking about what equipment do we need for the athletic department? And we just, what we were getting before was just a big number. And it was done, don't get me wrong, it was done professionally.
Okay,
It's just that, at least I feel with that, we need a little bit deeper into it.
Or maybe just being aware of some of the notable expenses in those particular lines that, that we should be aware of. These are new things that are happening, or these are things that are expiring, we might need to reconsider that contract.
and I know in the past, like if we as a finance committee would email Peter, which we've done several times, and he's been wonderful with it. He would get scolded for emailing us.
well, and I
Responding.
certainly don't want to get into any of that. I'm just
No, I
trying
don't.
to meet expectations of if you want a line item by line item,
no, God, no.
that's,
No,
that, I mean,
but if right now we're talking of what, 9%, $9 million deficit.
Mhm.
So if we're gonna have a $9 million deficit, we should know at least where, okay. if
Where
we
that
have to
9 million's
start-
being spent, and where we need to
If
start
we-
cutting
if
from.
we're gonna have to cut at some point, to lower that deficit, we need to know that information.
okay,
And this is really the first time that we've actually possibly might realize the deficit. In the past, we would always be told, we're gonna have a deficit, we're gonna have a
Was it-
deficit, and then we would be up $5 million the following year. So for us to be actually told there really may be a deficit, we're like, oh my God, there's really gonna be a deficit. It's not like just something you say to us to make us think bad things, and then
Right.
it really, is it really gonna happen? I don't know.
Well, and that's the other piece of this, is when we start having this conversation, we just don't know what the legislature is gonna do, because we're still not at the funding level we should be based on,
Yeah.
on the court ruling. So that's one piece of it. The other piece of it is, so we have a budget deficit, maybe, yes, that could happen, but we also have that cushion. What I don't want to do is outrun the cushion.
Yeah.
Right,
Right,
exactly.
but before we get to where we dispense of all of our loans, I
Or
mean,
we raise
or bonds,
taxes, or we
like,
raise taxes, and then we find out, like the one year we did raise taxes, it was only 1.25. It wasn't huge. But remember how we fought over raising
yeah.
it, and then we ended up coming in
with the surplus.
with a surplus, and we looked really bad.
and so so the whole budget system is really cumbersome. So Peter has to do kind of conservative,
Yes,
and the state doesn't pass their budget sometimes in July,
Oh, the-
August,
Yeah.
September. And we're supposed to guess what the state is going to pass,
Yeah.
but we by law have to pass by June 30th.
Yeah.
So it's really, really difficult. So I understand you as a board member, you raised taxes and then there was a surplus.
But it was a big surplus.
There could, but right, like there's so many factors that go into that.
The public doesn't want to know that.
I understand that, but I think if we offer that information and just make
Yeah.
sure that we're clear with it, but yeah, let me have some conversations with Pete, and then, as a whole board, we'll talk about kind of what expectations are. If they wanted to run through the finance committee with this more granular look, or if they want, you know, a full work session with it.
Well, I know some school districts do a work session on the budget and then give a general to the public after the work session.
Well, a work session would be public,
Yeah, it would be public.
So
yeah.
we don't want a public, we want to do it through finance, because we don't want, you know, just like this, I guess, right?
So a work session is a public meeting,
Right, yeah.
Oh,
where you're having
Yeah.
that full conversation out in front of everybody.
Especially when it comes to finance.
Absolutely. It had, I mean,
In
there's
other
there's
words,
lots of
we-
sunshine.
And it doesn't matter.
It would
but
be
it's fine.
like an executive session.
It would not be
Budget-
executive.
It should
budget-
not be in an executive
It wouldn't be
session.
an executive
So it'd be
session.
like this,
Right.
a forum just like this.
So it doesn't fall under kind of
It
those
doesn't,
things
okay.
protected under executive session.
Which is okay.
Yeah,
It would
it's
be
okay, yeah.
perfectly okay to not.
So during our upcoming executive session, let's talk about what
Yeah.
we want out of the meeting, and then we'll set it up, okay?
That sounds good to me.
But I will say, you know, Pete's wonderful when it comes to, I ask him a lot of stupid questions, I think, so. And I'll email him, and I email the whole finance committee and say, just, can you clarify this? He's very good about getting back to us, and I appreciate that, so it's not like he doesn't get back to us.
Okay, great.
He's really good at
And he's
that,
been doing that all along.
so we appreciate that.
Okay, guys,
Yes, we
enough,
do.
enough with the praise.
I'm just saying, I
Don't do
appreciate it.
No, there's never a stupid question, by the way. So you don't have to ever worry about that. So,
All right, so we have that.
Except when we talk about the paper towels.
And then I'm going to run through A through E really quickly, which are recommends from the properties and facilities, since we don't. We have the
Well,
approval.
I do want to have some conversation.
Sure, let's
Some
run through them and then we'll converse about them.
Which
So
one do you have?
which ones would you like me to pull out?
D and E.
Okay, so we have A, approval to put out bid for North Campus Stormwater Phase 3 and ESC sprinkler system replacement.
Yeah.
And then we have CHA invoices and D&M Construction Unlimited invoices. And then let's go to, we have applications and payment, but we'll go back to that. Let's look at the North Stormwater additional work.
Yeah, so is this and is this like a change order, right?
And what happened with that? Because I was not at the meeting for properties and facilities.
We had discussion on that. What, because it was an awful lot. And why didn't they, if you remember, we brought up, why did they not know this ahead of time?
Yeah,
No,
and
that's 170, 190.
Yeah,
happened with
and
Rutledge?
so this is not something I've fully been brought up to speed on, but it's my understanding that as they continue down this process, that more errors keep being found or more concerns keep being found that they have to address to do it appropriately.
Yeah, and I kept asking Chris, Josh, why they didn't know this beforehand.
Is it because they're digging underground and they didn't see it?
What he did say that the camera can only show so much when they did like the scope of the stormwater drains. And that as they dig up, they find and literally uncover other issues and concerns.
So one of the challenges I have with this is that he's not, when he provides the breakout of cost, it's not calculating in the profit. And we had this conversation the
Well,
other
I think
night.
I think they're adding their profit onto that, and they shouldn't, right?
Well, there should be profit. It's just that there should be a way to see in their calculations, the profit margin that they're placing
Rutledge.
into this. Rutledge, right? And so what they're not doing is, what they're doing is just giving you all the costs for labor, indirect labor, equipment and material, and they're building all the profit in there. And we can't discern from that what their actual profit is.
I thought they had with their cost. And then add 10% onto their cost, whatever.
We don't know what they're adding,
Yeah,
they
but
didn't tell us.
It's just not obvious from their, so you can't tell from their,
Their
unless
bill.
there's, is it overhead and profit? Is that what that
Raising profit, that's,
OH and P is?
Yeah, I guess so.
yep, that's what they.
So they're making $43,000.50 on us.
Right.
On what, how much?
43,000.
And out of 170, 190,
And so you have to take 43,000 away from that. So they're,
they're making about 20, they should only make, aren't they only supposed to make 10%?
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to, it's between 10-15%.
Is there a state law or,
I don't know.
This
It's not-
part I'm not real good on, but.
It's not a state law, it's just in a good practice or, you know,
normal
like we
practice
can.
is 10 Normal practice, if you do
in
time and
10%,
material, time and material is 10% on the time and material.
I don't,
At least that's what I'm used to.
just a quick, I don't see 43,000 as the total that they're making.
It says
I say it's 4,000.
Yeah, 4,000.
So it's 39,000
Which
it's
one?
P.
plus OH and P
Right,
equals 43,000.
So what's P? Is P profit?
I guess.
OH and P is probably the
Overhead.
profit,
Overhead.
overhead and profit.
Yeah.
So on that first total
P
of
equals.
A18, that would be 4,000 roughly.
Mhm.
Which, where are we looking
That's
at?
39,000, sorry, 39,000.
We're looking at.
So
what,
it's
part eight?
43,000 minus 39,850.
Mhm.
That's your OH and P.
All right, but is the P profit or is the P overhead?
Well, overhead is O and H, so it's overhead and profit.
I think,
Right,
I
But
think
P
it's
equals 39,000.
OH and P equals.
No, OH and P equals 43, but P. Overall total for P dash A18 equals 39,850. Is that overhead or is that profit, the way that they're breaking it down? I think that's what Rich is trying to figure out.
They're not telling us. And you're right.
I-
Richard.
I'm honestly not
They're
sure.
putting it together, so it's hard.
Where do you see that? Is
On
that
the bottom where it says total,
The first
overall
page.
total,
At the very bottom. They put the whole, they combine.
So,
it.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
it's, so for the overall total for PA18
which
is
is the project.
39,850.49 plus overhead and profit equals 40, so the total bill for the overall total bill is 43,050.49. Now that's the total bill for the bill identifier is P-A18.
So P does not stand for profit, P is the project.
Project.
Project, okay.
Project A18.
18. So so overhead and profit would be the difference, would be the delta between 43,050.59 and 39,850.49. So it's around $4,000.
so that's for that one. Then if we scroll down the next one,
So then the next one is less than 2,000.
so
And
that's,
it's an 8% overhead.
okay, then we go to the next one.
Okay, I see it, I see it.
Right, they're breaking each little section down.
Yep. And Josh has gone through and determined that these costs are reasonable.
Yes.
Overall total request for extra compensation is 122,906.
Because it
Is that
probably took them longer to do the work than they anticipated.
So,
Correct, and it seems like and the blacktop and stuff of that nature as well.
Page you're looking at,
right here, 2 or 3.
And I wish it would be more clearer what the OH and P was.
Yeah,
on
or
these
even
bills.
under, just in general with their bills, like I read it and I'm just like,
Yeah, so what I will do is I will reach out to Josh and inform him that they need to be clearer on what their overhead and profit is on each of their bills that they submit to the board on every project that he submits to the board in the future. I think that needs to be a little clearer on any change order or any bills that he submits.
yeah, because
For
if we
payment.
go down to the bottom on page, or if we go to page 4 of 9, it also breaks it down. We have labor, 6,491.
Right,
indirect
that's
labor,
clear. That's
equipment,
clear.
materials, subtotal, overhead and profit, 4,491.
Yeah, that needs to be, that's clear, like, that's fine, but I mean, when you got to the top, it wasn't as clear.
it's
You had
like-
to, bring out your calculator to figure out what it was.
And then the way that they break it down, like, I wish they would say, here's what it was. Here's what it is now, and here's why, and here's what the breakdown is. Whereas this, I'm like, when I'm at home and I'm going through it, I'm like, huh?
And then they added it up all together and then totaled and gave you the grand totals to what all the individual change orders or emails or received things were, as you could tell when they received
Right.
the request for the different work that was requested.
Right,
yeah, and you're on the stormwater one.
yeah.
They really, yeah, okay.
And then we go down to the high school phase 2. It does break down of labor, equipment. Drivers, what we're paying for that, so we see that. And then if we scroll down, we see materials and we see all that. So we'd have to really do the math. And see where each person's billed, because he does show us where each person is billed. Installed 80 feet of 24-inch pipe rather than 30-inch pipe. The rate was this 45.16, the cost was for, we see it all, and there's 10 of them. They break it down, but I wish it was simpler. For me personally, I don't know.
That is a little confusing, but
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess the piece here is that, and I don't know what things cost, so I'm not even gonna be. But
then Josh gets 7% on top of that, right? I think is what we,
How much did you say? 7?
7%?
I think it's somewhere around that, yeah,
Yeah.
I can give you the exact
And
breakdown.
we did that years ago, and I don't know,
That's something else we
the
should
amount of
revisit.
money we give him. That was done about 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know if that's,
When we were having a lot of issues with work and stuff like that, we
and we
brought
had,
in
yeah, we
engineering
had,
to protect ourselves.
but I don't know what I don't know what the going rate is to give.
It's between 5 and 7% for engineering firms. Yeah, you're very close to what the going rate is. It's to me, it's worth it.
Sounds like we're at the top of it, not very close.
Yeah.
If it's between 5 and 7%, it sounds like we're at the top of it.
Yeah.
We're at the top of it,
And
yeah.
is it where we should be?
I don't know.
Another question, so that's something else.
How long is our agreement with them?
But I don't know. Do you have that?
I can get it for you. I don't know the
Because I
top
don't
of my
think,
head.
I don't remember renewing it the last couple of years. We've just let it roll and roll.
Yeah, so Peter will get it to me and
Yeah.
then I'll look at it and see how
And
long.
that was, goes back to when we had a whole different board, yeah.
Okay,
and I guess my point to this is when they do break out all the costs, these should not be, these should be the actual cost, not the cost plus. Right,
We'd
so,
like to see it separate.
no, I'm just saying like, there's materials in here. I don't know if those are the costs that they buy them off the truck, or the
Well,
cost
what-
plus their cost.
What you're saying on Josh's end of it
Right.
shouldn't be the whole cost, including the profit. and,
So for
uh,
example, on page 9, if I hear you correctly, Rich, where it says material on 10/4/2024, Central Clay
Right,
is the equipment purchaser. It was $670.77, that's the hours, but we don't know what the material itself cost
yeah,
and what the markup was on it.
yeah, or like
Yeah, we don't know if Josh is getting paid the commission.
it's not about
including
Josh.
markup.
This isn't Josh. He gets paid separately for
This
this.
is Rutledge.
This is
No,
only
I-
Rutledge.
yeah.
So. That's all. Okay, I'm done. Right.
So we have that. The next item was the
Oh.
Otis install this new solid state starters for the 4 elevators at high school. Those are the ones that broke, right? Last
No.
year?
this is
No.
preventative maintenance.
Oh, preventative maintenance,
Yeah.
okay.
So they're requiring us to pay upfront for the
Yes.
item. And then they install.
Yes,
And these are new starters because they can't replace the old.
correct, because the old ones are obsolete.
Right.
And this has nothing to do with the cylinder or anything else that we had over here. This is, you're
Completely
telling us
different.
it's,
Are they under state contract? Otis?
Let me look at it, hang on.
Because if they're under state contract, they have to do the work first and then we pay them. I think my concern with this is that we have to pay them up front and then they come do the work. And that's typically not how
No,
these
but
things work.
in this order, that's the way it was
worded.
laid out.
Right, but I think what Rich is asking is that what's
No,
supposed
I
to
know,
happen?
yeah.
No, it's not under, it doesn't look like it doesn't appear to be under any cooperative state contract.
Okay.
And that's. Wouldn't we have that, Rich, normally?
No, I just.
I just, well,
It just
the,
depends.
well, the issue is, no, in this particular situation, since we have Otis elevators, we really wouldn't have much of a choice to go with Otis. So we wouldn't have to bid it out or take anything else. But the problem, like with this is, I don't know, I didn't involve myself in this particular issue, so I wouldn't know, but I wouldn't have, down payment is due in full prior to Otis ordering material and or.
And I believe they said they could do this over the holiday.
Yes,
So if we did it, if we did it real quickly, we get done. So when you say we're paying for it up front, it's only for a couple days,
Yeah, and that's not, I'm not worried about that, or the cash flow or anything like that. I think
Joe, this is a big.
it's just that, generally you want something to hold back, say you have to finish the job or something like that.
Right,
Yeah, I could try to work out something with them since we're such a customer with them and we're a public entity that we're not going to stiff them on the bill.
right.
So we put,
That 10,000, say we're gonna pay you.
yeah, we'll pay
Yeah.
75% of the bill or something like that. Rich is absolutely right. There usually is a holdback clause of some sort that we hold back at least 10% of the bill before we pay before.
Just to
we finish it.
protect us as well.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And look, if that's the only thing that gets the job done, job has to get done. So it's not like.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, like a prime example is the north floor. We still haven't paid the holdback yet because they never fixed that issue. We ended up doing it ourselves.
Yeah, I don't think we ever paid that. I think
No, we did.
we just didn't pay. They just ate, we just didn't pay
They
it.
probably couldn't figure out how to fix it.
Who knows? And then we have our typical project list that we always look at. So anybody have any questions in regards to our project list? And I like that it's on my computer now because I can zoom in and actually see it, whereas before I couldn't see it when it was printed out, so that's always helpful to me.
So for all of us.
So, we have a lot that are getting close to being done. It looks like on the first one, we're due a refund, if I'm not mistaken, if the one for the HVAC, there's a negative, so is that money we're due back?
You're looking at which one?
The first item on the project list, the Bushkill Elementary School HVAC upgrade. It looks like we payment of 101%, so we went over. Is that 19,771?
I don't think we're owed a refund on that. I think it might just be one
It
of the,
costs more?
yeah, it might have just been, we cost a little bit more over contract, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not any, we're not owed a refund on any of these.
Okay. And if you look on this, George, too, the Dewey Engineering, what we paid to Dewey
Yeah.
is listed on each one of these as well.
Yeah.
So Dewey's made quite a bit. Projects.
Well, that's why I said that, yeah. That's why I say, yeah, we pay them a pretty good sum. Plus, we also pay them a retainer. Am I
Mhm.
correct, Pete?
You know what, to be honest with you, I have to check on that too,
I
because,
think that we pay him a $2,000 a month or something like that to do regular stuff. And I've never seen anything, us pay him or with.
yeah, that's handled in the maintenance department, so I have to check because I think my understanding was that we pay them primarily. My concern is paying them per project and how we pay them per project and the cost of the payment per project.
Sometimes these projects are little projects that basically I feel should be in the retainer, but that's.
Yeah, we could handle a lot of our projects in that house too, that we do, but I primarily focus on that cost. But
But
I
I think
could
in the
go-
contract, there is a retainer fee, and then it's under certain parameters, they get 7%, I think.
yeah, I'll get a copy of the contract and make sure Maggie has it.
thank you.
Okay, any other questions in regards to our current projects? I guess some of them we need to remove from there because they're 100% complete and they're still on there, but a bunch,
Oh, we need to get that cleaned up with Amy.
yeah. And there's some that are like 91%. Just like the holdbacks. Okay. Any other questions? in
Is this
regards-
done because it's this school year and that's why we're showing
Some of them-
100%?
Maybe, I don't know, some of them are older. Not sure.
Like the ones that are 100% done,
Are they from the school year, all of them? I didn't look at the.
like, is that why we're showing all of them? Or is that,
I don't know.
Looks like the last bill, like the last invoice we paid on was in 8/24, which is this current fiscal year, so.
Yeah, maybe that's why they're still there. Sure.
Yeah, I think some of them are being updated to show that they were still ongoing. Like the rest of the one could be removed, or the Bushkill HVAC upgrade can be removed. that's at 101%. But some of these are still a little bit ongoing, and until we get the thumbs up from the maintenance department that they're completed, that's why they stay on the accounting side of things from the business office. So we just have to get the thumbs up from the maintenance department that they're completed, and then they'll be removed from the main project
Right, and
list.
that 101% doesn't mean the project's 101% done.
Is it-
It's 100% pays.
Yeah,
Payments.
exactly.
So
So
it doesn't mean the project has been concluded, and I'm not saying whether it has or not.
I don't know either.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we just wanna have part of this list of completed projects for the
Or maybe
year.
even color
And
coded,
the date completed, the name of the
Mhm.
project, so we keep track of them.
or even color coded the process.
Unless you
like
use,
red
do you use this
dot.
for any other purposes, Peter, this particular report?
no, because we have another report that shows the project list for the capital reserve fund that shows the
Right.
balance. So we have the balance list for you guys.
Okay,
Maggie has that, so I want to make sure that that is up to date to give you an up to date balance. So when we ask you to take things out of cap, we know cap reserve, that we know what we're dealing with in that terms. This may be this is to cross reference some of this stuff, but this is also to make sure to keep track of the payments for the Huey and CHA. So
Is
we
your
know,
report or is the same report?
this is my office's report. Yeah, this comes from my controller. So that's why I said some of them have to be on there for cross-referencing purposes, and that's why I said that
Maybe we could just-
maintenance has to come back and say,
and if,
But maybe for the board's sake, like, there's a lot,
Yeah, it's hard.
and
to
if we
follow.
could streamline and make this just look a little different,
Like even just color code it, like
so it's
complete,
easier to
paid,
understand.
whatever.
I will say though, as somebody who's dealt with capital projects and like reporting to PennDOT on these, it is helpful to have everything in the same fiscal year reported, even if it's just closing it out.
That's why I said just color code it for me, so I know.
Where did that check number go to?
Yeah.
It's right there. Okay.
All right. So with that being said, do we have any public participation online or anything like that I'm missing? Sue? Yeah, okay. All right, so let's make our recommendations. We have the recommendations to move forward A through E in section 3, which is the board approved Burke 1, 2025, recommend the board approve DESCON, and also the dates as presented with those dates subject to location possible change, but as of the dates are set.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion to move forward items A through E for the recommendations by the Properties and Facilities Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and then F will just color code or figure out the project list, which is fine. And with that, is there anything else? No. Do I have a motion to adjourn and know our next meeting is January 13th, 2025, both in person and via Zoom?
Second.
All right, we